What's up, humans? Welcome to a Sunday Psicoactivo. Okay, today I wanted to echo a brilliant interview that I just saw yesterday from Vinnie Adams at the Disclosure team. He had a chance to interview Ross Coulthart, and Ross was very clear about a couple of things that he cleared up. One of them was Jake Barber's credentials. He proved uh, to his satisfaction that he was who he said he was, and made some other revelations. For example, uh, I don't know if I'm mistaken here, but it seems to me that Ross is okay with oligarchs taking control of the UAP secrecy.
That's exactly what Jake wants to do. As he said to me in the interview, we don't need Congress. We don't need the national security state to tell us what to do. We can do it ourselves. And I don't think people have fully realised yet what he's got. He's got millions of dollars in private equity funding from the big end of town who know the official story is bullshit. They know the public are being lied to. I mean, I went to a conference at Esalen, south of San Francisco, which was a very restricted, very high security conference attended by some very, very high net worth people and some of the top scientists on this subject from all over the world. And I was blown away by the interest from high level Silicon Valley people who clearly know categorically that there's a cover up. And they think it's hilarious and amusing that the public is still allowing itself to be misled and deceived. And they're operating on the assumption that it's real and positioning themselves by investing in Skywatcher so that they can basically be there to develop what the US has kept secret quite improperly for 60, 70 years. And there's nothing stopping them from developing that technology. And I mean, that's the exciting thing, is that, there's a real probability now that the materials science technology will be out in the public domain. And more importantly, what you'll see, and I've spoken to people in the legacy program who've told me they want to do this, as soon as they see a private enterprise company in a public way working on the materials science behind these objects, they're going to jump from the legacy program and come and help. They want to go and work. They might not go public, but they want to go and work for these new companies. They really want to bring the knowledge and the know-how that they've developed in the black and take it to private sector because they think everybody's got the right to know about this.
I know that there's a lot of division right now with that because we got people like Peter Thiel and Palantir, Elon Musk being awfully quiet about it. But clearly they're moving towards potentially getting a hold of these secrets and the technology if it exists. So I don't know about you guys, but that's unnerving to me. I do not like an oligarch taking control of these things, these secrets, and then monetizing them. I don't agree with that. So I'm sorry, but if Ross does agree with that, I have to disagree with him. But he didn't seem like he was happy about it. He just said that that's what's happening. And yeah, that is what's happening. Just recently, there was an article where they made a report of one of these companies that deals with technology that is trying to allocate billions of dollars to fund reverse engineered alien technology. That's what the title was. While I talk to you about this, I'm going to leave the screenshot in the description so you guys can check it out. But it's not happening just with them. It's happening with a bunch of companies. And many of them are trying to implement AI so they can optimize this reverse engineering through AI. And I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest with you. It's an unknown territory that could go either way. It could be extremely beneficial for humans, or it could be extremely catastrophic for humans. And Ross Coulthart did hit the nail on the head when he talked about the fear there is about just regular companies or regular humans, private enterprises getting a hold of a technology that could potentially be more destructive than nuclear weapons. because that is entirely possible. If 0 point energy exists, if it does, and if there's a way to weaponize it, human nature and human immaturity tells us that people with power and people with factories to make weapons, the first thing they're going to think about is, how can I weaponize this? And that is what we're fighting against right now. And that is part of the concern that Ross Coulthart told Vinnie. Vinnie asked him a brilliant question about whistleblowers, on whether they're coming forward, more are coming forward or not. And Ross was very clear. He seems disappointed at the immaturity of the UFO community. And yes, that exists. That's real. It's happening. There's a lot of obfuscation, a lot of immaturity, a lot of attacks. As soon as Jake Barber came forward, a lot of people attacked him. And honestly, he's been very gracious with it. I know that it is frustrating sometimes because he keeps getting attacked and people have tried to dox him. They say that he's committed stolen valor. And that is really disappointing. Yes, I agree with Ross. This is what Ross said right here.
Do you know the biggest hindrance, I think, to whistleblowers right now is the snide carping from the community of people who for years have been asking first-hand whistleblowers to come forward. I mean, if I was Jake, I wouldn't have done it. I mean, why in God's name would people come forward, risk their careers? I mean, he's walked away from a secure job that he's held for 20 years, along with his colleagues, because he passionately believes you guys have a right to know what he knows. And what has he copped? Oh, he's a CIA plant, or he's a false flag operation. And there's all these so terribly well-informed trolls on social media who just make these specious assertions without any understanding of what it involves for people like somebody like him to come forward, and the checks that have to be done behind the scenes to verify his bona fides. If I was a whistleblower, I'd be thinking, you know what, maybe we're not ready. Maybe people are just too immature to deal with the ontological shock of this reality. I mean, it's funny, I've actually had a conversation with somebody in private aerospace who rang me up out of the blue. I didn't know how they got my number, but they're from a very prominent private aerospace company. And we had a very frank conversation about disclosure. And I said, you know, why not? Why not reveal it? And the argument that I got was people aren't ready. And I have to admit, the immaturity, the nastiness, there's been I agree, a solid rump of people who've been very supportive of Jake. But frankly, I would question if I was a whistleblower. I would question as a journalist if I was being asked, and I'm being asked by whistleblowers whether they should come forward. I would not encourage them to come forward right now, because I don't sense, even though Annapurna Luna, Representative Luna, is making all these noises about the UAP issue being focused on in her committee, let's just wait and see. Let's just see what they can achieve in 6 months. I mean, I think 6 months is ridiculously short for a start. And you're right, they should have subpoena powers. And they really should have the status of a full select committee with full subpoena powers and the power to conduct and hold full public hearings. It's crazy. If they're serious about this issue, they should be putting it on a podium and getting aggressive. And I don't see a level of aggression from the political class. It's weird. And I think part of it on the religious right is they're spooked by the implications of the spiritual ideas that are being conveyed, that essentially at the heart of this is the possibility that what religion has sought to explain for 2,000 years might in fact be simply the human brain engaging with some kind of uber consciousness that's got nothing to do with certain religious beliefs. Or maybe it's the other way. Maybe it is a religious belief and they're worried that essentially what we're doing is attracting something demonic. That's certainly the line that I get from a lot of people in the US Air Force, that essentially we shouldn't be engaging with this and we shouldn't be acknowledging its existence or making people aware of it because it's demonic. And I can tell you, I've spoken to people who genuinely believe that. And look, I can't dismiss it out of hand either, to be perfectly honest. We don't know what the intentions of the NHI are. I just know that there is an advanced intelligence that is engaging with humanity. And if you look at most world religions, at the heart of it, what is God? What are angels? What are demons? I mean, maybe they are ways of describing what people have encountered over human history and never fully understood. And maybe they are capable of evil. Certainly the impression I get, and the impression that Jake and his team have got, is that it is certainly the entities that they've been engaging with, friendly, compassionate, loving indeed. There's any number of other reasons, frankly, why at the moment, if I was really genuinely asked by a whistleblower and sat down, I'd be saying, just keep your powder dry. Let's just wait and see what these guys in Washington, D.C. show.
I agree with Ross. It is really disappointing, but that can't be the reason why whistleblowers are not coming forward. If you really are thinking about coming forward as a whistleblower, you should know that this is the type of pushback that you're going to get. And you must be mentally prepared for that. And that cannot deter you from coming forward and speaking your truth, because it's always going to be like this. Human nature is like this. And we need a traumatic type of experience or a traumatic paradigm shift in order to stop being so critical and so judgmental. Because you can be skeptical, you can ask any question, but going after people and attacking them, that is what is making these whistleblowers have second thoughts about coming forward. And I get it, but you guys can't give up like that. This is not the way to do it, I don't think. If you're disappointed at this, it's just part of the whole encompassing problem that we're going through. And you turning your back because of attacks and all this tells me that you're not ready either to come forward, because human immaturity is something that we are trying to fight against. At least this channel is trying to fight against that. Confrontation, tribalism, all of those things that are still very much embedded in human nature, but we are slowly moving past them, because those are more instinctive type of reactions and feelings and expressions. The ones that are more well thought out, those are the ones that we are after, because those are the ones that are going to help us get to the next stage of our consciousness evolution, And it's not going to be all love and light the whole way. I mean, I commend you for being so open to criticism and engaging with anybody, even if they're sometimes disrespectful. And I get your frustrations, but you need to understand there's a difference between a person who has seen evidence or experienced something and those who haven't. And I think that those who have need to be a lot more empathetic towards the ones who haven't seen anything. Because I've been reading John Keel's The Eighth Tower in the past week, and he talks about the superspectrum and how there's people who, depending on what experiences they've had, whether they have been traumatic, NDE, stuff like that, that's how sensitive they are to the superspectrum, because the superspectrum is all there, There are a bunch of different types of frequencies that the human body and the human eye cannot see from their default mode, Maybe when you're a kid, you are more sensitive to them, but as you grow older and you get more accustomed to this materialistic paradigm, you grow out of those and you forget them, or you block them in some way.
This may not seem very Fortean to some of you, but everything is interrelated. And the more we study history and the more we study current events, we see that all of these things are linked together in strange ways. That the UFOs as most of you know who have read my books, I don't think they're extraterrestrial at all. I think they're definitely tied to the human race, and that they react to things that are happening to the human race. I don't think they're vehicles. I think sometimes people see what appears to be vehicles, but they're really hallucinatory. And no matter how reliable the witness is, what they see can be questioned. The same is true in many of our Bigfoot cases and the strange monster cases, that the people see some image that's planted in their mind, and the creature itself probably doesn't exist at all, at least not as the creature that's seen. When I was in India, I was impressed at the number of people who were seeing the Indian gods, multi-armed gods and all. Whatever your belief is, these manifestations are going to assume that form.
So if we listen to what John Keel has to say on that book, it means that nobody is able to experience the full superspectrum, neither humans nor animals. But humans are able to experience some parts of the superspectrum depending on their experiences in life. And people who haven't seen anything personally, they don't have that capability to experience other aspects of the superspectrum that John Keel talks about on his book. And this is the issue that we're currently dealing with. And the fact that they haven't experienced anything and they haven't seen any actual evidence, like, for example, the people at Skywatcher have, or, for example, somebody who grew up with shamans in their family have, and grew up with different types of traditions, with knowledge of some type of wisdom that was imparted from their ancestors to them. That person has a very different upbringing and a very different sensibility to the super spectrum than a person who was born inside a city and has always been a city person and has never seen anything anomalous in their life. They're too technologized, or if they did have traumatic experiences, they have it deep down in their subconscious. In order to get those experiences back, although they're traumatic, therapy works, regression works, and that may be a way in which you can become more sensible to the superspectrum, which is where everything anomalous resides. That's what people are seeing. They're seeing the superspectrum, parts of it at least. And that's the issue. And if you guys at Skywatcher and Whistleblowers don't understand that, you need to understand that. And you need to be more empathetic towards the people that are genuinely skeptical and remain respectful, because there's a big difference between those who have attacked Jake Barber, who have gone after his credentials, gone after his credibility. There's a big difference between those and people who instantly say, this guy sounds like an op. This guy sounds like a CIA plant. Even Ross, in this interview, which I'm going to leave in the description, does say that at the beginning, he thought Jake Barber was a plant. So I would ask Ross to let people who were just as skeptical as you were at the beginning to make their own due diligence, present the documentation that you can about Jake Barber, so they can prove for themselves that this guy is who he says he is. People are not just going to believe someone just because they're saying something. And I get that you are very credible and you have a long career. You have done amazing work in the UAP space. I get it. I get that a lot of people already trust you, but give the ones who don't a break, man. It's not really that difficult. They can do their own digging if they know how to. You can also give them a few clues to where to look to prove or satisfy their curiosity about Jake and about the other stuff that Jake is going to try to prove. The best way to silence people who are critical is by showing them the evidence. So yeah, we have to wait. But honestly, Ross, you give them these whistleblowers advice that they shouldn't come forward, I don't think that's the best advice, man, because we need to be empathetic, as I told you. Uh, Not everybody is as equipped to look at the full super spectrum or more aspects of it as perhaps experiencers or abductees are. So we need to be very, very empathetic towards them. And yeah, we need to be patient as well. That's good advice. But whistleblowers, if you're hearing this and listening to my words, please don't turn back. We really need all of you to come forward. And we need all of the evidence that you have to present it. The noise is always going to be there. So you're going to have to deal with it for now. But if you're certain about what you have seen, and if you're certain about the evidence you have, whatever attacks you get, whatever skepticism or criticism you get, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So don't pay attention to it. Ignore it. That's my best possible piece of advice that I can give you guys, because we really do need you to come forward, all of you. And about that final part of Ross's video of demons and angels, and I get that Ross is remaining open-minded about it. I think that's the best approach that we can get, because we still really honestly don't know what we're dealing with. The only thing that I think makes sense right now is John Keel's and Jacques Vallée's interpretation of the phenomenon, that this phenomenon has a trickster element to it. It manifests itself depending on the person's own life experiences. That's why when a bunch of people see the same thing in the sky, they all register different things because they are equipped to see different parts of the super spectrum, according to John Keel. So that's as far as I go when I try to interpret what the phenomenon is. I cannot say if these are indeed angels or extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings, or anything in between. I can't really say what we're dealing with. But yes, we need to remain open to every possibility, because whether you like it or not, religion and ancient scripture is tied to this whole story. There's people reporting a bunch of different anomalous things and supernatural things for millennia now. And maybe that's just the way they interpreted it back then. But it may not be demons. It may be something else. But then again, it may be demons or angels. So I think it's really interesting to just remain open-minded in this, as Ross is saying. But let me know what you think. I want to know, what do you think about Ross's advice for whistleblowers? Do you agree with him advising them to not come forward now? Should they wait for the new task force to see if they deliver? What do you think about people coming after them, criticizing them, and even accusing them of really horrible things? Stolen valor is horrible. So what do you think about those people? Do you think it has to do with them not being able to see or not having any type of experiences with the phenomenon? Could it be just that? Or do you think there are people that are also have an agenda and they just want to discredit anything that comes their way? Let me know what you think about that. And what do you think about Ross remaining open-minded about this angelic and demonic aspect of the phenomenon, possible aspect? I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. I'll be looking at comments. I'll try to like them all. I don't think I can respond to them all because there's a bunch now. But you guys know I'm pretty active there, so leave a comment. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can get notified when a new video drops. If you want to support the channel in any other way, I'm going to leave a few links in the description. We have a members channel too, and you can also support us on the KGRA website. That's audio, and on X and Rumble, we have the videos too. All of the interviews are there. But yeah, that's it for me today. I will see you guys in the next one. But remember, Stay curious. Bye.